time now to review headlines from today's newspapers. Over to you, Steve.
Okay, we start as always with this day newspaper, and the lead story says, relief as Buhari signs Electoral Act, demands alteration of clause, banning political appointees. INEC holds emergency meeting today on implementation. I mean, that's clearly the news of the weekend because it happened yesterday, and you will find it in all the newspapers. It's also the cover picture for this day, and that's a good one for Mr. President. Let's hope that it will serve as the foundation for which better things can come in terms of political reforms for the country. On top of that, raised to $200 billion, CBN unveils incentives to boost FX repatriation, offers 65 naira for every $1 repatriated and sold at I&E window for third-party use. On top of the masthead, the strip, terror war, military rejects clamor for mercenaries, that you will find on page 10 of this day. And on the window, Russian troops enter Ukraine's capital, Kiev, as Putin calls on military to seize power from embattled Zelensky. Pull back now, Nigeria tells Russia. You must pull back, Mr. Putin.
Or else.
Or else. That's Buhari to Putin. Yes, pull back now.
Let me get my children out. Don't let me get my citizens out.
We know how to deal with issues like this. Pull back, we're warning you, Mr. Putin. Last but not the least, is kidnapped kingpin Evans, two others bag life imprisonment, which is on page 6, which we have already, discussed. Those are the stories. Should we do?
We did this one.
Yes, we did that one already.
Okay.
So can we go to the Punch?
Yes, sure. Moving on to the Punch on Saturday, the headline story is, of course, the world at war, Russia and its invasion of Ukraine. It's too risky to evacuate the 5,600 Nigerians in the Ukraine now, says the federal government. Nigerians have been fleeing Russia and Ukraine, fleeing that war, and are stranded at the Poland border, and says Polish officials have been barring entry, demanding visas and authorization letters. We're hiding in bunkers, the internet is down, and we can't get food or fuel, say students. You'll remember that we spoke to a student still trapped in northeast Ukraine, says that even his situation is a bit better than some of his colleagues at university. Some of them who are staying in dormitories have now been forced to evacuate and are under metro stations because there's nowhere else for them to go. So this is a huge, huge shame for this country. They can't get its citizens out of a war that does not concern them. To the top there, Buhari signs, as we talked about in this day, the electoral bill. INEC is supposed to meet today. Fuel scarcity persists. The NNPC has engaged security agencies to tackle distribution glitches. And that's pretty much it. We've got...
What's Ashiwaju saying there?
Ashiwaju was saying that, ignore those saying that I'm sick. He says that he's got the mental capacity to lead Nigeria.
Yeah, that's good. He will be 70 on March 29th, and he says it clearly. I am not sick. I've got the mental capacity to lead Nigeria. That's coming from him. We'll go to Daily Trust very quickly. The lead story, of course, is on Buhari signing the electoral bill, rejects exclusion of appointees from primaries. Those that you will find this in all the newspapers, and I like the fact that they have the major highlight of the Electoral Act 2022 on the cover of the paper. But for their cover story, a terror on education, untold story of out-of-school children in North Central. Farmer herder, communal crisis take toll in Benue. Returning villagers convert bond schools to church in Nasarawa. Niger parents fear for children's safety. There's also a story on how Buhari brought fortunes to Daura. It's a special feature which you will find on page 26 of the paper. And then Sokoto IDPs, tales of displacement and despair. One other interesting story, which is on the page 8, if you want to know why the ECOWAS, why we can't intervene in Sunday Igboho's trial. ECOWAS court, that's on page 6 or at page 8 of Daily Trust. Sunday Igboho, by the way, this is his 8th month in captivity in Cotonou, Benin Republic.
Wow.
We're counting the days and the months, and let's just hope that intervention ultimately will come.
The
Vanguard.
Hope so. The Vanguard. Do we have time for the Vanguard?
We can quickly rush through the Vanguard, I believe.
2023, INEC to decide new date as Buhari, of course, signs the Electoral Act. Ayo Adebanjo says, what Awo told us about Igbos is what he said to Ojukwu. I've met Igbos that have lost their fire, who can't claim to be descendants of Zik and neither support succession nor oppose it. You can read more on that on page 11. To the top left-hand corner, the APC convention, there have been plots to scuttle agreed zoning principle still on. Governors and stakeholders are in a fight to finish over chairmanship and others. And in the topic of chairmanship, you remember when we had, what was his name? The gentleman who had the very colourful things to say about, he came in to replace Alhaji Modu Sharif.
Oh, your friend, right?
My very good friend.
Doctor.
And you talked about you talked about the fact that the position could be zoned to the North Central as opposed to the Northeast, and I just thought how interesting that you seem to have seen.
His candidate is from the Northeast,
right?
But of course, it looks like
it's going
the party
to be
is zoning it already to North Central, and you see from the lead story of Daily Trust of 2 days ago, it looks like the president and the party, his kitchen cabinet, have settled on a particular candidate. So the noise will go down a bit, but then there will still be a lot of movement towards the convention on the 26th of March. Those are the papers for today.